When I talk about polls, especially AP and NORC polls, my audience doesn't seem to like them. Or more specifically, the folks who actually comment on things and comment bombs don't seem to like them because they tend to not be favorable of President Trump or the Republican side. So you basically say I'm an idiot, which is fine. But here's a poll that those folks might actually go along with because it talks about the political landscape and how we take in information, which we'll talk to about in a moment, which is a little bit deadly in that case. And it corresponds with what we're talking about with the ratings for weeks now. Now, the data indicates, recent data indicates that Americans are really, really kind of tired, experiencing fatigue from political news. So they are basically not engaging in the content as much. This poll from AP-NORC reveals that 6 in 10, more or less, of the Americans out there feel the need to limit their intake of political news and avoid feeling overwhelmed. Now, the sentiment is reflected in ratings specifically for TV because, TV is for old folks like me, apparently. I'm in that key 25 to 54-year-old demo, and I still watch CNN. But CNN is seeing a 30-year low in actual responders, people watching the news there and keeping up with it. So people watching it and watching those commercials is bad for them. MSNBC, somewhere in the same boat, where the ratings are down because as they were, let's be honest, cheerleading for Kamala Harris, and when she lost, all the people seemed to need to turn off the TV, so they had to be reminded what was happening. They felt sad, and no hope and joy was there, as they were basically claiming the campaign had. So they're sticking away because they don't want to hear what the other side is doing. In the meantime, Fox News is having more people who want to hear what the other side is doing, and their post-election coverage is growing. They're getting a 34% increase in viewers, averaging 3.157 million viewers at a time. So that's great. But there's an issue with that. That means more people are tuning into conservative news than liberal news, if you will. Let's just put it like that. More people listen to red news than blue news. And that means people aren't as aware as it should be. Now, in a real great world where the news was more towards the center or people picked and choose from both sides to see what we're saying, there's going to be the media bias, that is what is being reported on the conservative side, and the lack of engagement, lack of knowledge from people who are missing anything from the liberal side. So they're not getting anything at all versus the red side getting a lot of stuff that is really, really pushing hard for the Trump agenda. It is what it is. Your news source does vary. And if you don't follow any traditional news source, you don't get traditional news. You get bits and pieces from TikTok and from YouTube and from, of course, your friend on Facebook. And that can be great to keep you up to date what people are thinking and saying. But as for on the record, you don't get what's on the record. And once again, as I said before, many channels, some hard for the left and some hard for the right, do their best to bias the news or bias the opinion of the news if you're going forward. They basically tell you the straight facts of what actually happened, but the whys and the what's it going to mean to you get a little crazy, a little worried in there, and turns into shouting matches and just panel discussions, because most of the evening news right now is just entertainment panel discussions. But the big deal here is the news is not being watched. At least CNN and MSNBC definitely not being watched. And many people of all shapes and sizes from both political spectrums are tuning out and getting less of their political news right now because they just don't want to deal with it. January 20, more people will probably be engaged again. But for right now, the engagement is low. So tell me about your engagement with your news coverage right now. I'm still watching it because I do this cast every day and have to be engaged with what's going on. But I'll be honest, I'm a little sick and tired of some of the political leanings because it's just right now, it's not calling balls and strikes. It's just, we need to kill time and fill things until things actually happen. What's your opinion on the poll? Do you really believe that 6 in 10 Americans really are backing away from the political coverage? Do you believe that CNN is doing as bad as the ratings numbers say and Fox News doing as good as their ratings numbers say? Do you understand what I'm saying about the biased news back and forth and understand that it's real and aren't going to just say, well, the other side lies all the time, because that doesn't fix anything? Your comments, very much welcome.